Welcome to the second weekly update for the Greater Brisbane area on the Brisbane Channel for December 2024. This time I'm going to let you know the things that are relevant to people in all of the Greater Brisbane LGAs first, and then things that are relevant to specific LGAs, at least Brisbane, Ipswich, Logan and Moreton Bay. Sorry Redlands, got nothing for you this week. This video is sponsored by a brilliant Brisbane business, Mobile Computer Geeks. They're your local team of techs. They handle everything from computer upgrades and repairs to securing your devices online. Need web design, web hosting, business emails, or IT support? They've got you covered. With same-day service, they come to you and will find the best solutions for you. Call Mobile Computer Geeks today and let them take care of your tech so that you can focus on what matters most. Click the link in the video description to find out more. And if you mention the Brisbane channel, you'll get 5% off your first booking. And members of the Brisbane channel get 10% off every time they book. So let's get down to the news that's not LGA specific. Firstly, the new Queensland government has opened up consultation for the Olympic and Paralympic Games infrastructure and planning. So this is your opportunity to have a say. Just head to www.gamesreview.com.au to express your ideas and opinions. Submissions close at 11:59 on Friday, January the 10th. Cricket Australia and the AFL's Brisbane Lions have both sent their feedback, between them saying that the Gabba was reaching the end of its useful life and that a new stadium at Victoria Park was their desired outcome. The next thing that affects people right across Greater Brisbane is that the laws have been changed for people who have bought a new home. From this week, the laws were changed to allow people receiving grants or concessions, such as the First Home Owners Grant, to rent out a room in their new home without their eligibility being affected, as long as they remain living there as well. This has two main benefits. Firstly, it eases financial pressure on the people who have bought the new home, but it also adds supply to the rental market. So it will be really interesting to see how this affects the rental crisis that we're currently having. A whole lot of new international flights into and out of Brisbane were announced this week. Jetstar is now offering direct flights between Brisbane and Bangkok, which have not existed for the last 5 years. Delta Air have started direct flights between LA and Brisbane, and a new partnership between Virgin and Qatar Airlines will open up new flights from Brisbane to many new destinations, including those in Europe and Africa. This will help locals travelling overseas, but it will also help local tourism as more people fly into Brisbane. This week, an investigation was launched into a breach of biosecurity protocols at Queensland Health's Public Health Virology Laboratory, where vials containing samples of infectious diseases, including the Hendra virus, Lissa virus, and hantavirus, went missing and were unable to be accounted for. The investigation will look into steps taken in response to the incident and the lab's current policies and procedures. It's thought that the vials were destroyed, but it wasn't adequately recorded. Chief Health Officer Dr. John Gerard gave assurances that the viruses would not survive long enough outside of a low-temperature freezer and that there was no evidence that there would be any risk to the community. Also this week, the federal government launched the Pacific Policing Initiative, which will run out of headquarters in Brisbane. The accommodation and training centres in Brisbane will be the headquarters of the Pacific Police Support Group, a multinational cohort of police that could be deployed to a range of Pacific nations at short notice. This comes as China announces that it will provide financial support for Vanuatu's police and security forces. So let's get to the LGA-specific updates. Firstly, Brisbane City. The new Queensland government put out a release this week claiming that the cost of the Cross River Rail, still under construction, had blown out from $5.4 billion to over $17 billion, and that the completion date, formally set for 2025 with the first passenger services starting in 2026, would now be delayed until 2029. The former Transport Minister Bart Mellish hit back at the claims, saying that the figure had been augmented by including 25 years of maintenance costs, which are never included in calculations of a project's cost. He also expressed concern that the LNP government was not committed to a 2026 opening. One factor in the delay Transport Minister Brent Mickelberg pointed to was the need for certification by the National Rail Safety Regulator, which he said takes at least 2 years to complete. This was contradicted by a spokesperson for the regulator, who pointed out that the National Rail Safety Regulator does not undertake testing or commissioning for any major project, that this is the role of the project manager, so the time frame for the process is a matter for them. How this matter plays out in the next few years will be really interesting to see, and the Brisbane channel will be following closely, so make sure you're subscribing to stay in the loop. And while we're on infrastructure, the Kangaroo Point Bridge opened this week, connecting active transport networks in the CBD with those that run through Kangaroo Point. But those hoping for a connection to the cycleway that runs alongside Lytton Road will have to wait, with Brisbane City Council expecting construction of a cycleway along Shaftesbury Avenue to be completed during the 2027-28 financial year. And while we're talking about cycleways, a music and light event put on by the Destination Brisbane Consortium at Queen's Wharf has prompted protest from Brisbane cyclists. Sono Lumo is an event running until the 15th of December featuring projected lights, live music and DJ performances, and food vans. While some are loving the opportunity to attend a free event that takes advantage of our balmy summer evenings, active transport users are not loving it. The Queen's Wharf development was built in such a way that the Bicentennial Cycleway runs straight through it. In the interests of safety for patrons, cyclists and e-scooters have been asked to dismount and walk their bike or scooter through the event area. This included people commuting home before the event had begun. The conflict brings to light the fact that a private enterprise has been given control over the design of a public transport route and is now policing a section of it temporarily. In protest, active transport advocates staged a party of their own on William Street, blocking access to the Star Casino's driveway.
We had a disco on the driveway, which is in response to the casino putting their food trucks and bars on the bikeway. So we thought we'd give them a taste of their own medicine, so to speak.
Yes, so just a bit of absurdity, like blocking the bikeway, which is a major transport corridor, with food trucks and bars. We thought we'd go and dance on their driveway for a while.
Sticking with the cycling theme, but less controversial, the International Cycle Park in Murarrie was officially opened this week. The $35 million project is a joint venture between Brisbane City Council and the federal government and features state-of-the-art criterium tracks, a 500-metre inline skating track, a new clubhouse and upgraded parking facilities. It's expected to become a hub for local and international cycling events and is part of a broader vision for Murarrie Recreation Reserve. It's hoped the area will be transformed into a premier sporting and recreational destination. Let's move to updates for other Greater Brisbane LGAs. Firstly, Logan, where artificial intelligence will be keeping swimmers safe this summer. The Gould Adams Park Aquatic Centre in Kingston has introduced drowning prevention technology that uses overhead cameras and special software to detect unusual movement in the water. Lifeguards will then receive a notification on their smartwatch alerting them to the specific area of the pool where someone may be struggling. Now to Ipswich, which this week celebrated 16-year-old Gout Gout's record-breaking run in the Australian National All-Schools Championships. Running 200 metres in 20.04 seconds, he broke Australia's record that had been held by Peter Norman since the 1968 Olympics. His time is the fastest by a 16-year-old on record. To put it all in context, that's faster than Usain Bolt ran at the same age in 2004. At the same event, he also became the fourth fastest ever Australian in the 100 metres, with a time of 10.04 seconds. Needless to say, we're expecting big things from Gout Gout, and I'm sure you'll be seeing more of him on the Brisbane channel for a while to come. Now to Moreton Bay LGA, where council rules have been amended in response to community safety concerns around people experiencing homelessness and the areas they're camping in. The council has brought in a new framework which moves their approach more in line with other South East Queensland councils. The new regulations will prohibit people camping on public spaces from keeping animals. They will also be cracking down on people camping in caravans and vehicles on public land, calling on state government to ease laws which restrict the ability for caravan users to utilise caravan parks for extended periods. The council is also calling on Queensland Police to provide more officers to manage the situation. But it's not just the living that need a home. What about the dead? Who's looking out for them? Well, if you're watching this and you're dead, Moreton Bay's got your back. This week saw the reveal of the Tallowood Cemetery Master Plan, a 100 years and beyond framework to help meet the demand that massive population growth brings. It includes not only clearing farming land to make space, but also offers an innovative range of interment options, including bushland burials and ashes scattering in nature. And while all of that sounds beautiful, I should end with another positive update. This week it was announced that NewNerve, a commercial research institute associated with UQ's Brain Cancer Institute, has produced successful results in a human clinical trial for a potential new treatment for motor neurone disease, MND for us, ALS in some other places. The therapy promises not only to slow disease progression, but also to improve gross and fine motor function. The breakthrough is the culmination of 23 years of research by the team. I'm finding it hard to find good updates for some areas. Redlands, I'm looking at you. So if you as a viewer have anything that you think is worthy of being in one of these weekly updates, then send me an email. You can find the email address by clicking more on the homepage of this channel. If you enjoyed this update, then you can say thanks by buying me a coffee or by becoming a channel member. And thanks to everybody who did either of those things last week. For everyone else, thanks for watching and sticking with it for this long, and I'll see you in the next video.